Hey, what's up, guys? This is Micah,
And this is Dylan.
and this is Fumble Fever. This is podcast number 2. If you're just joining us, we're so glad to have you. And if you've been following since the first episode, we're so glad to have you continuing to be with us on our journey. We had a lot going on, Dylan, in the past few weeks, and especially earlier today. I want to get to some breaking news first before we start. Antonio Brown released from the New England Patriots just a few hours ago. We've been following his timeline pretty extensively now, as you know, and as all of our listeners know as well. I compared it to a soap opera last week. Looks like the court cases finally catched up to him. They didn't necessarily say that.
It's about the messages that he sent after the sexual assault was recorded. The messages that he sent after that.
Okay,
like 2 days ago or so.
Okay, so new information that even I didn't know
Yeah.
because there's so much stuff going on with this case. I guess, in a sense, this whole off season, I think a lot of people's been getting pretty fed up by it, and to be honest, it's seemed almost like a much needed therapy session is in order after all this. So, I'm gonna ask you, how do you feel? How does this make you feel now that it's finally over?
Well, he deserved to be pretty much cut from the team, but
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's insane the amount of slack that this guy was given, but we've seen this from time and time again. If you're a great player, which he was, and probably going to go down as one of the world's best receivers, one of the greatest in the NFL possibly, then you get a little bit more slack. You get a chance to pretty much do whatever you want to do, right? So I guess that's a little bit of what we were seeing, and I understand it in a sense. Some people are willing to put things past them if they can play, but I'm happy that it's probably over. I'm going to say probably because we never know.
He'll probably come back.
But who's going to pick him up?
They'll give him another chance.
I
don't know who, but somebody will. Because like I said before, it's a civil case. It's not a federal case, so it's not over prison time. At least not the first. Not the first girl was. I don't know the second one.
Is there more? Do you know?
No, there's only 2.
You seem to know a little more than I do, or more than anybody. Is that? You think there's more?
No, there's probably just 2.
You think there's probably just 2? I think more probably come out.
Yeah, they're probably
As I think maybe the first 2, 3 might be real, and then all of a sudden there's this whole long list of people coming out, and it gets kind of diluted that way. But I'm happy it's over. It's been stressing me out, man, trying to follow this guy, trying to follow the timeline, and all of my tweets have to be about Antonio Brown because there's just keeps popping up every time I turn around. I can't get any other news out because it's Antonio Brown all the time. That's why I'm glad to have a few other stories that's been going on in the NFL with injuries and different stuff happening, some quarterback changes, and that actually leads me into our next topic and the New Orleans Saints. Okay, if you don't know, Drew Brees is out with a thumb injury, and he's going to be out about 6 weeks.
He had surgery on it, right?
I'm not sure if he's had surgery yet. We will check on that for you guys, and as soon as we know, you will know. We'll post it on our Twitter or Facebook, and we'll let you guys know any updates with that. But he will be out 6 weeks. How does that affect the Saints' chances moving forward as far as maybe Super Bowl goals or even playoff goals?
I still feel like they can make the playoffs, but without Breeze, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. But Teddy Bridgewater, he's still a really good quarterback. I like him, even after the 2 or 3 concussions that he's had.
You think Teddy Bridgewater plays the whole time and earns that starting spot in his absence, or you think Taysom Hill gets his shot because they've been liking him too?
I think they're going to stick with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah,
I feel like he's just the better overall player as far as quarterback wise.
I agree with you.
Maybe not athletic wise.
Yeah, Yeah, I tend to agree with you on the fact that they're going to choose Teddy Bridgewater. They have said already that Taysom Hill will get some playing time, maybe a few snaps, but I'm going to tell everyone listening now why the Saints are absolutely okay moving forward and probably even better than okay, and why they still have the chance to go to the Super Bowl. As you already said, you said there's no way that they're in the Super Bowl with this stint. I think otherwise. I think they could still get there. Now, I think the field is crowded. The field's very crowded this year, and it's going to be rough to start for the Saints because coming up in their next two games, they've got at Seattle, they got a home game against Dallas, okay? I think they lose possibly both of those games, or at the very least one of those two games.
Definitely Dallas.
Yeah, I was going to say Seattle. I was going to say definitely Seattle at Seattle with the NFL's version of the 12th man and all their new acquisitions. I like a lot of the pieces they have on defense, but it's going to be rough. Those first two games.
Both teams.
Yeah, definitely going to be rough. And I think if I can get a pretty good guess as to what's going to happen, everybody's going to flip out. They're going to say the Saints are done. They're going to be boo-hooing in New Orleans. The Who Dat fans, they're going to be crying. Everybody's going to be, overreacting big time because they're, at that point, if they lose both of those games, they'll have a 1-3 start. After those games, it gets a little bit easier. If I'm looking at their schedule here, they have Tampa coming up after that. Jacksonville, Jacksonville's another win even without Drew Brees. At Chicago is capable, depending on how the defense plays for the Bears. And then it's at Chicago, so that could be a potential loss. Arizona.
That should be a win.
Yeah, that should be a win. And then a bye week, and this bye week is crucial. The bye week is the week that Drew Brees is back in the lineup. He gets a full week to practice with the guys and get things going again before he comes back the following week and starts taking on some of the NFC teams in Carolina and Tampa and Atlanta. And here's what's really good if you're a Saints fan right now. What's amazing is the fact that they only have to win, I think, maybe 8 or even 9 games in their whole season to win the NFC South.
Yeah, the whole South is just bad.
For lack of a better words, we're just going to say bad. There's nothing that Carolina, Tampa, or Atlanta is going to do to get in their way. So that's the really lucky part. The real amazing part is they don't have to go 13 games. They don't have to go 12 wins in the season to get to where they want to go to win the NFC South and have a chance at the Super Bowl. So, Saints fans, a little bit of hip and hooray because your day is not done at all. Please hang with your guys if they have a couple of rough losses to start because they will get it going. Somebody, however, that won't get it going, as we know, is the New York Giants. They parted ways with their dearly beloved Eli Manning. The reins have been handed over to Daniel Jones. I mean, what is your thoughts just in general on this whole situation?
Well, it's going to be a long season for him. Is this going to be growing pains? I'm probably seeing 4 wins at best. Even though Daniel Jones, he's a really good quarterback. He's gonna be the future for New York, I think.
Yeah.
I count him as pretty elite. Or he will be elite.
He will be elite.
Yeah,
really?
I think he will.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think a lot of people is going to be shocked by that statement, and I think I was taken back because I certainly wasn't expecting that. Wow. I
think it's going to take him a couple years though.
I think it's going to take a lot of years.
You think?
Before he gets to the elite level. I like what I'm seeing from him.
He doesn't have any wide receiver talent at all around him.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense with all the moves that they made, getting rid of all the receivers. They already knew that this was going to be a pretty garbage season, and once they finally went 0-2, they absolutely made the right choice, and they said, you know what? we're probably going to lose just about every game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and let the rookie quarterback get in there, get some snaps. Yeah, get some experience. He's already shown promise. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, that way they can get their number 3 pick or 4 pick, get a receiver.
Yeah, somewhere at the top, top
3 or
of the
4,
line
5.
there. Yeah, and they have a few receivers that'll be coming out in the draft class. But I mean, let's face it. They moved up. They got pick number 6 last year to get Daniel Jones, and they did it for a reason. They already knew that Eli was on his way out. Now,
I didn't think it was going to happen this quick.
No, I don't think anybody really thought it would be this quick because the Giants made it very clear going into the season that, hey, we're not looking for it to be this quick. We want to give Eli Manning a graceful exit, if you will. He won us a Super Bowl. We like him a lot, and they do. The coaching staff really does like Eli Manning. They always have.
Which they should, because he's a pretty good guy, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I think he's a good guy. He's going to be a good sport, and he's looking not forward to it by any means, but he's content in a sense with being the team guy and saying, you know what, I'll step down. If that's what's best for the team, that's what I'm willing to do. It's a terrible exit. It's a terrible way to go, especially considering his brother goes Denver, wins a Super Bowl, and that's how he gets it. I think there's going to be a little bit.
Peyton is better though.
Peyton's a lot better. I'll agree with you.
I wouldn't say a lot better, but he's better.
I would. I don't care. I would say he's a lot better. I would absolutely say that, and because mostly just because Eli had that decline, and it's been a slow decline all the way down. Peyton had his moments where it just wasn't clicking for him, but he stayed pretty steady and consistent throughout his years as he got older. Eli just has looked flat out bad at times, and that's probably the only reason I'd say he's
much worse.
Yeah, Peyton's better, but no, they definitely knew what they was doing. And by the way, in case anybody hasn't noticed or made the comparisons yet, they basically, when they got Daniel Jones, they just got another Eli Manning, but a little bit more mobile one. I mean, he even looks like him.
A little bit.
Yeah, he does. He really does. He looks. I mean, pull up their pictures side by side. Daniel Jones looks like a young Eli Manning, and he acts like him too at times. So the only real difference is he's a little bit more mobile quarterback.
He's a little bit bigger too.
Yeah, and got a size differential there, so he's going to be the future. And eventually the Giants will be okay. It's just funny to think about the fact that they're in such a bad state right now that they're getting shots taken at them from the Buffalo Bills. You saw that clip with Josh Allen, didn't you?
Yeah.
Talking about the only one New York team and everything after, deservedly so, he did beat both New York's Giants and the Jets, but also saying that both the Giants and the Jets are in a bit of disarray right now. But,
big time.
Yeah, big time. So the state of New York, not good for the present, possibly better looking into the future.
I agree.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, speaking of the future, this is a question that you brought to my attention recently over the past week, and I've pondered about it a lot. You asked me, or said something about the possibility that Ryan Hilinski, quarterback for South Carolina, true freshman, could possibly be an elite QB one day. I know my thoughts on this, but I'm curious to see what you say.
I just think eventually he will become elite. I just think it's gonna take time. Just maybe like a year or so. You see what he did to Alabama's defense? He just picked them apart pretty much. Even though they lost like 44-23, he had 300-something yards and 2 touchdowns, which you can't really recall many quarterbacks doing that, especially freshmen against Alabama.
Okay, I'll give you some of those. This is the way that I saw it, and you know how I feel about Ryan Hilinski. We've been over this plenty of time. You know I think he's great. I'm not dissing this kid by any means. I'm telling you that if there's one time in my life that I want to get a little bit technical, it's right now, because I'm going to speak technically when you say the word elite. The the word elite to me leaves room for very little error. It's a very short list of players. I understand he's obviously not elite right now. I'm not saying that he should be. I'm not expecting him to be. But I really don't think that he's going to be after his 4 or maybe 3 seasons, however long he ends up being with the Gamecocks is. And part of the reason why is not only because right now I see moments in him that I don't like, and that if that trend continues, I'm going to continue not liking those, because he has the tendency that I saw to be very similar to something that I saw Jake Bentley do, and that's play like a hero. I saw him make throws against Alabama where it looked like he was trying too hard. He looked like he was trying too much to win at whatever cost, and he made some costly decisions. He made some decisions that were freshman mistakes, honestly, and he'll clean those up. But as far as elite goes, I think the list is way too short for me to add him to that, obviously now, but in the future as well. Even though he could probably be one of the top quarterbacks to ever leave the class of Carolina, I just can't put him at the elite level.
You think he'll be better than Connor Shaw for Carolina?
Perhaps.
Connor
Shaw.
Not win wise, at least.
Not yet. Okay.
Because Connor Shaw, he's 27-5 overall.
Yeah.
All time. He's the winningest quarterback ever to go to South Carolina.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say the only reason I think it won't be winning-wise is because of this season. Because this season's going to hurt that record a lot, because they've already lost 2 games, a game to North Carolina that they shouldn't have, and that really hurt their season a lot. Now, you say, if I could piggyback off of something you said earlier, you said that he pretty much picked apart Alabama's defense. I will say that he looked fair in that game, on my opinion, but, and it's a big but here, I think there's a lot of vulnerabilities on Alabama's defense. I think there's a lot of vulnerabilities on Carolina's defense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Their secondary is hurting right now.
Yeah, I think
time.
both secondaries.
I think, Alabama's linebackers, like 2 of them are injured for the season.
Yeah, and they're, of course, one of those guys being their star leader, who's over the whole team. There's 4 true freshmen playing on that Alabama defense. They had uncharacteristic penalties during that entire game, which is going to drive Nick Saban absolutely insane.
I know, you never see those penalties. False start, you never see those.
This practice that have been going on this rest of this week after that game has had to have been absolute heck for those guys. It's had to be. But if I'm going to maybe nitpick a little bit, I'd say that his play against Alabama doesn't actually seal the deal for me, for Ryan Helinski. I think he had a lot of opportunities where Alabama was fairly weak in a lot of areas. They left a lot of receivers open. I also think that he got lucky a few times on a few of his throws. There
on
was
that one throw where he fit it right in between those 2.
You were thinking about the same thing I was thinking of, and that we're all thinking of.
That is still an amazing
throw. It was a good throw.
That was an amazing throw.
It was a dime of a throw, but he got bailed out, and you saw it later in the 4th quarter when he tried the exact same thing. Didn't work so well. It was picked off in the end zone. So that was another one of his true freshman mistakes that he's going to clean up. But let's say we talk about Alabama's defense. If we move forward into the rest of their schedule, as we get looking at our Saturday slate of games coming up, South Carolina's playing Missouri. Should be a good game. It's at Mizzou. It's in the other Columbia. You have a pick for that game?
Yeah, this is actually my upset pick. I got South Carolina in this one.
Oh, so we don't have to go to you when it's time for Super Dogs. You can just reiterate at the end of the show. This is your guaranteed upset pick.
Yeah, I see them winning by probably 3 points again.
Okay. I see a close game like you have. Only thing that's leaning me towards Missouri is the fact that at the beginning of the season, I told you, I said, I think Missouri is going to be fairly good. I think Missouri has a chance to be 8-0 when they come into Georgia. That obviously is out of the question because they lost their first game. But I'm not.
Yeah, that game is really tough though. It's in Wyoming. It's a really tough. It's a really high elevation, so it's not a cakewalk going in there.
I'm glad that you said that because I think a lot of people probably
are going to judge that.
Yeah, they're going to judge that. They're going to look at that game and they're going to say, Wyoming, wow, they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri's terrible. No way Missouri does good the rest of the season. How do you lose to Wyoming? Well, you go to Wyoming. It's the very first game. You got a brand new quarterback. You got a lot of pieces that you're trying to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just one of those games.
And they were up at halftime. If they just scored another 3 points,
I think it was Missouri's defense really that killed them because Kelly Bryant did great in that game, and he's done well in his games after that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelly Bryant is actually what I think is going to be the difference maker in this game coming up. Even though South Carolina has had a shot,
you think he can make the throws though?
I know he can make the throws because to me, from what I've seen this season, he's been proven to me that he can make those throws. And I think he's gotten frustrated with people thinking that he's only a running quarterback, that he's one-dimensional. But this is where the key to the game is for me, is the fact that I think Carolina's defense, that we've already seen get gashed so many times, not only by Bama, who we know had the talent, but by North Carolina too, who had a freshman quarterback in Sam Howell, and a lot of pieces there that were quite young on that North Carolina team with not as top-notch recruits running straight through them and passing straight through them too. That's where Kelly Bryant, for me, comes in and wins the game for Missouri in a close one, perhaps closer than the experts think. Although I guess you can't really get much closer than 3 points.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, they're favored by 10 or 9.5.
Yeah, it is 10. I was looking at my parlay card. Not that we are okay with supporting gambling by any means, but I was looking at my parlay card earlier, and it is 10, or it came out at a line of 10 points. It's going to be a lot closer than that, but give me Missouri at home.
Okay.
Now, the games, by the way, was a long list, and I have my list here. There's 13 that I wrote down. There was 20 that I could have chose from.
We're going to narrow it down to 5.
Yeah, we narrowed it down to 5 for you guys, just so you're not watching this for the rest of your night and ruining your entire evening, because that would take far too long. We've already told you about South Carolina, Missouri. Our next game up is Tennessee and Florida, and I already know how a lot of the fans are going to react to this one, that Tennessee's going to lose because they're going to lose every single game. Florida's got this in the bag, blah, blah, blah. I think you are shaking your head because you think otherwise.
It's not going to be a cakewalk. But I think Florida's going to pull it off. Last second field goal, probably like 24-21. Because I think Tennessee, they're going to bounce back. They're going to come out fighting. They're going to come out ready.
Yeah, I think.
And their quarterback's not as bad as people say he is either. Or
Gutierrez, Guti, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, he's got the starts with a G.
Yeah.
Can we call him G? We'll just call him G. Yeah, I have to agree with you that it's actually going to be a lot closer. The spread on this one's 14.
Yeah, it's not going to be that far.
And I don't really like what I've seen by Florida anyways to make me think that there is a team on their schedule. Yeah, the teams that they've played, that there's a team on Florida's schedule that they can really blow out. I don't think they can. And now with Felipe Franks out for the rest of the season, we don't know a lot about their backup quarterback. He was able to lead them to victory over Kentucky, but I don't know how much that's really saying either yet.
I mean, Kentucky, they're not bad. They're a decent team, but that's still pretty impressive for him to come in off the bench when Felipe Franks got injured and lead him to a win.
Yeah, it's always impressive just by the mere fact that you don't implode by just having so much pressure and anxiety build up from you. From all of a sudden, you're sitting on the bench, you're not thinking you're going to come in, and he's calling some signals, maybe texting his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden he has to strap a helmet on and go lead the Gators to a victory over a team that if they would have lost to, it would have been the first time since 1976-77 season. So,
when they lost back-to-back?
Yeah, when they lost back-to-back. I should say when they lost back-to-back. So that was a lot of pressure on that kid, and we'll see how he handles some of this. Playing back at home in the swamp is part of the reason that I'm going to give it to Florida. But how do you feel, by the way, of Florida's chances moving forward throughout the rest of the season without Felipe Franks?
I didn't see them having a chance really at all for like really much in the East, because I see them still losing to South Carolina, even if they had Felipe Franks. They're going to lose to Missouri. I see them probably about 8-4 or 9-3.
8-4, 9-3. That actually sounds to me like optimistic at this point. And honestly, it probably sounds to me to be optimistic for even when they had Felipe Franks, because I don't know about you, I got a little bit tired of the fact that they keep hyping him up, and he kept consistently disappointing to what I feel. And maybe you're disappointing because you're hyped up so much, and it's just when your expectations are so high, you have nowhere to go but down, and that could be part of the problem. But I didn't see Florida.
Yeah, they didn't really develop him very well, I don't think.
Yeah, something has definitely gone wrong. There. Yeah, I have to agree with that. So, by the way, just a quick plug. In less than 20 minutes now, 8:40 Eastern Standard Time here, Friday night game between Utah and USC is going to be going down. That's a fun one to watch, to be looking for. And Utah is going to be their last hope for the Pac-12. It's a kind of a play in, either you win or Pac-12's done. Do you think Utah wins that game? Just kind of a quick pick.
I think Utah does win. I think they beat USC probably by 7.
I hope
it's gonna be very close. It's pretty much a toss-up game.
Yeah, I hope for the sake of the Pac-12 that Utah wins. To be honest with you, it's been very sad over the past few years. And we went into the start of this year and we said, oh, it's Oregon. Oregon's their only shot. It's only Oregon. Oregon loses. If it comes Washington, oh, Washington's their only shot. Washington loses to California by 1. Now it's Utah. And we'll see if Lee Corso's...
In California, they're undefeated right now, ain't they?
Yeah, actually, they put them in the top 25. They have a good game coming up against Ole Miss, actually, that we don't even have on the slate because there's so many games to talk about. But that is a good one to watch if you get a chance. Listening out there, if you get a chance to watch that game, California and Ole Miss would be a good one to flip to while your other ones are going on. Yeah, maybe on commercial or whatever. But if we quickly, and I think Utah's going to win that game too, by the way. I'll just throw that out there before we move on. But
especially with the running back. I don't think USC is going to be able to stop the running back.
Right, and I like USC's quarterback, by the way, Kaidon Slavis. He's done a great job in the air raid attack. It's going to be a challenge for that Utah defense, which has been so stout throughout all this season. But I'll give the nod to Utah there. If we're going to stay in the SEC real quick, I got a ranked versus ranked matchup. There's only 2 this whole week, which actually surprised me because of how good the games are. But there's only 2 ranked versus ranked teams, and one of them is Texas A&M taking on Auburn. Who you got?
I got Bo Nix and Auburn to win this one.
Yeah,
at 3.
By 3, so another close game.
Yep, we're gonna have tons of close ones this week.
I have to agree with you on that, which really makes me excited because as a football fan, that's what we want to see. That's what we hope for. That's what keeps us on our couch from 9 a.m. when game day comes on all the way to midnight and never leaving and. Or your wife or other significant others, friends, family, getting really annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
Because
you won't get up from the couch.
Yeah, you're zoned into it, and you can't leave. And this got to be one of those Saturdays, a big turnaround, a big 180, if you will, from last Saturday. But I think Auburn as well as another close one. Bo Nix has surprised me.
Yeah, if Bo Nix shows up like he did
Against Oregon,
in the second half, I think they'll win.
Yeah.
If he shows up like he did in the first half against them, I think Texas A&M will win. But I think he's going to show up.
Yeah, and he has to play like he has against Oregon for this to work. He
Second
can't play like he did, second half specifically.
Mm-hmm.
He can't play like he did in his games after that
Mm-hmm.
game. I think Tulane, one of them was the one that I remember the most, where it was not very good.
I mean, Tulane's a good football school, though.
Regardless, though,
yeah, you should.
He's got to play better, no matter who the opponent is.
That's true.
I'm just thinking about the quarterback play
Mm-hmm.
in general, because I'm not taking a knock at Tulane by any means, because I do like Tulane and what they've done.
Yeah, they beat Houston last night.
Yeah, they did. They did beat Houston last night.
On a fake snap.
Yeah.
On a what's it called?
Fake the was it the kick or?
No, it was the.
It was a fake.
Yeah, it was a fake.
It was a fake. It was a fake. That's what it was. But they have done a good job, and if you get a chance to see some of those like late night Thursday night games, and you don't have to work early in the morning like I do, then they're definitely worth the watch. But Auburn and A&M is going to be worth the watch as well.
Definitely 3:30.
Yeah, 3:30 kick. If you aren't busy at that time or your favorite team's not playing, this is the game that I would be personally watching. Bo Nix, if your name's Bo and you play at Auburn, you're destined for greatness already. Yeah. So he's got that to try and live up to. And then you have to watch more or less because of the reason that A&M is so desperate for a win right now, which is just unfortunate how tough their schedule is, and they could end up being a 7-5 type of program, whereas if they were playing in maybe any other conference or even just the East of the SEC, they would be doing a heck of a lot better, So yeah. I feel for A&M. I think Jimbo Fisher's been a great fit for that program, and he's probably got them to some games that they could have lost in the past that he got them past the win. So I'm rooting for the guy, really am, for the rest of this season, but there's no way that I see Auburn not winning this game. If we can get out of the SEC for a bit and head into some other monster games, we do have another ranked matchup. And I lied earlier, there's 3 ranked matchups, not 2, because another one is Michigan and Wisconsin.
I got Wisconsin. Defense. All the way.
And then you also like Jonathan Taylor, right?
Yeah, he could break records this year. He could break the all-time rushing record.
I actually believe that now. I'm starting to get more on the Jonathan Taylor train than I was before the season started, because you knew I wasn't exactly buying in to what he can do. But this year I've noticed that he has started to receive now. So he's got some receiving touchdowns under his belt.
He had his first one last Saturday.
Yep. The quarterback play at Wisconsin has gotten a little bit better. At least game manager type.
I bet they're glad they got rid of Hoiberg.
Yeah, I would be too as well. And just if I can make I'm going to make a bold prediction, somewhat bold prediction, and I'm going to tell you that number 1, Wisconsin's going to destroy Michigan in this game. I don't mean they're going to beat Michigan; they're going to destroy Michigan. Jonathan Taylor's going to have a Heisman moment, okay, and he's going to get at least 1 rushing touchdown, if not 2 or more, when he plays the Wolverines. Yards, I don't know. I didn't necessarily prepare yardage in this prediction, but if I had to say, maybe I think he breaks the 100 mark, which he's been fairly unable to do against the Wolverines in the past. I think maybe 150 or so. It's not a ton, but it's enough to give him just enough of a moment to where everybody sees what this man is actually capable of, and everybody says, oh, okay, we got another guy that we need to start paying attention to in the Heisman race if they haven't already. So I'm not only going to say that Wisconsin's going to win this game, like I said, I also guarantee you right now, Wisconsin plays Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. And I don't see anybody in the Big Ten West that's going to take down the Badgers.
I agree with you on that one. Ohio State, Michigan. Wisconsin.
So you can roll with me.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Wisconsin and Ohio State. That's the first set championship.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely guarantee it. And both teams probably come into it with maybe one loss or two at the most. And everybody's talking about the potential of the winner of that game going to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's another game that could be a potential playoff eliminator, at least for one team, and that is when Notre Dame comes to Athens to visit Georgia. Who you got?
Georgia. Defense again.
Okay. Yeah, you have been on the defense wins championships role this whole season.
I think they handle business, though. I think probably 17 points.
We're agreeing a little bit too much for comfort because I absolutely say that Georgia rolls big in this game. I think Notre Dame's a pretender, to be honest.
They make it a game for 2 quarters,
yeah.
Then come out in third quarter, and they start rolling, like you said.
Yeah. You know what? I'll even give them 2.5 quarters.
You give them 2.5?
I'll give them 2.5 quarters, but then the talent of Georgia, which is all over the field, maybe one of the most talented classes.
And they're always 2 steps behind every good team they play. Notre Dame is. It
feels like yeah, I agree with that because Notre Dame's talent level is really low. Mm-hmm. If you really sit down and think about it, and you watch them play, and you see the type of guys that they have, it's very 3-star-ish type of caliber guys. Their talent level is low. I think Ian Book is a game manager, and that's it. And I don't see any other pieces around him that's going to be able to get big wins like this done. Brian Kelly has proved in the past that he can't win the big games. It continues here. There's absolutely no way that I don't see Georgia rolling in this game. And it's unfortunate that it's going to be college game day. And
Swift's going to have a big game.
That's a guy. I'm glad you said that name because that's a guy that a lot of people forget about.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Swift for Georgia. If you haven't seen some of his highlights yet, you need to look him up because he is going to be a sensational running back and he's going to be a gift when he goes into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly
just about like every Georgia running back.
Yeah. I was actually watching a college game day preview earlier on ESPN, and Georgia fans were claiming themselves as RBU, and I thought about it for a second, and I thought, you know what? That's not a bad call, right?
Yeah, they're definitely running back you.
It's a lot different than when Texas fans claim to be DBU, and then you saw what happened when LSU got a hold of them. I think Georgia could actually make that claim, and we'll see that from DeAndre Swift.
Because they have 2 or 3 guys that could play anywhere pretty much.
They do.
Almost.
They absolutely do. So that is actually going to do it for our Saturday slate games. If you want some more predictions on games, I'll try to get to them on Twitter. You already said your super dog pick, right?
South
Carolina over Missouri. I have a super dog that you're going to like a lot, okay? And I think our fans are going to really like this one, okay? I'm going to go with Kansas over West Virginia. They're playing a West Virginia team that has looked about as bad as it can get. Kansas got their big blowout win over BC, kind of shocked the world, whoever was watching on that Friday night game. Les Miles has got his guys pumped up. I think the best thing that could have ever happened to Kansas was losing to Coastal Carolina. Because he went in that locker room and he reamed those guys out. I saw some of the highlights and some of the clips from Miles to Go and different documentaries that have been following him this year. He was absolutely livid. And that is a speech that they're never going to forget because it's one of the first times that they've heard in Kansas that, hey, losing is not acceptable. It's not okay. This is not something that we're going to do.
And
so
I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
You think Kansas is going to go bowling?
That was actually my next point, and I think you should probably get out of my head because you're trying to freak me out a little bit. Yes.
You think
I'll say that right now. I've already made one bowl prediction today.
If they play like they did against Boston College, I see them going.
Yeah, they've already got 2 wins at 2-1. They get a dub against West Virginia. That's 3. I think they have a good shot against teams like Kansas State, and I think they have a good shot possibly against TCU. I understand TCU is in the top 25, but I don't see that lasting very long. I actually think TCU might struggle a little bit against SMU this week. They'll win, but struggle. So there's some winnable games on this season. Yeah, possibly Texas Tech. I mean, they have the luxury of playing in the Big 12 where you don't really know what's going to happen. Anybody could
beat anybody
pretty much any week. And I absolutely think Kansas goes to a bowl. I'm going to go ahead and call that now. If they would have lost to Boston College, I wouldn't have said that. But since they beat them, I absolutely will.
You think they go 6-6, or what do you think?
6-6, yeah, okay. Probably 6-6. I think 7-5 is probably stretching it a little bit too much there. But before we get out of this show, I actually have something I want to show our audience. As soon as this is done filming, I'm going to post a poll for you guys. And basically, we all know how the turnover chain in Miami started a trend that has been insane, to say the least, in college football. I've got a good kick out of some of these props, and I think you'll like these too. And if I can bring this up here, I'm going to get a poll to see what you guys... I want to know your honest opinions as to which newer prop is a better turnover prop, okay? Last year, we had one come out for Kennesaw State, and they dubbed that the turnover plank. If I can get this, there it goes, in there. Got a good look at that. There's the turnover plank, okay? I like that one a lot. That's been my favorite for a long time. I might have one that can beat it.
I don't know. Are you ready? You can't beat plank.
Well, let me show you first before I show them here.
The turnover pencil.
This is the turnover pencil. It was debuted a couple of weeks ago. Akron. Guys, look at this. If there's anything that could beat the turnover plank, that's pretty good right there.
Oh, yeah.
Turnover pencil, turnover plank. Tell me which one is better on Twitter. That's at Fumble Fever, and I will try to see if I can post it on Facebook as well. If you don't already have me on Facebook, it's Micah O'Shields, just my name on there. So follow us on Twitter at Fumble Fever. Find me on Facebook, Micah O'Shields, and we'll get that post for you. We'll get any more updates we get, if it's on Antonio Brown or if it's Drew Brees. You can find a lot of stuff on our Twitter. That's all we have, unfortunately, for our show today. I'd love to keep talking football with you because I feel like we could go for hours. But it was fun, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.